Hey everyone, it's Warren, and it's time to vote on which theory you thought was the best. Here's a recap of all of the theories that won. Be sure to vote on which one you thought was your favorite at the end.
We're on to the final theory number 5. Theory number 5 comes from Alfred Norwin Barbacena, and he has a theory about the Namor Easter egg in Avengers Endgame. In Avengers Endgame, Okoye mentions an underground earthquake off the coast of Africa. Many people believe that this is an Easter egg to Namor, and that Namor is going to be the villain in Black Panther 2. Alfred believes this and believes there will be a war between Wakanda and Atlantis, but Alfred thinks that they have something in common, that they're both super technologically advanced, more than any other civilizations in the world. Alfred thinks that some vibranium maybe came from outer space and landed in the ocean, which is where Atlanteans get all of their technology from, just like Wakandans. So in Black Panther 2, we'll see the battle of the two nations, the two most technologically advanced civilizations on the planet, and we will see Namor versus Black Panther. I like this theory because I too believe that the underground earthquake was referencing Namor in Avengers Endgame. He's been teased coming into the MCU for a very long time now by Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, and it makes sense if a meteor came from space landing in Wakanda giving them their vibranium, then maybe another meteor landed in the ocean giving Atlanteans vibranium. This would definitely make for an interesting battle, a battle between the two most advanced cities on the planet. This is something that actually happens in the comics. Wakanda and Atlantis are at constant war with one another, so this theory could definitely happen. Well, that's it for this week's theories. Let's do a quick recap. Theory number 2 comes from Gaith Benor, and I'm really sorry if I butchered your name there. But Gaith's theory is that Professor Hulk actually sees Natasha after snapping, just like Thanos saw Gamora right after he snapped in Avengers Infinity War. Gaith says that when Professor Hulk's eyes roll back and he passes out holding Cap's hand, you can clearly see his mouth moving as if he's talking to somebody. Maybe he's talking to Natasha and holding her hand. This actually makes sense in a couple of different ways because Thanos did see Gamora after he snapped. Gamora was the person that Thanos cared about the most, and Natasha was probably the person that Bruce Banner cared about the most. And Gamora was the soul sacrificed to obtain the Soul Stone, just like Natasha was the soul sacrificed to obtain the Soul Stone as well. And if Thanos saw Gamora after he snapped, why wouldn't Bruce see Natasha after he snapped? It makes sense. So that's theory number 2, on to theory number 3. Theory number 2 comes from YouTube user Mysterio1264, and they have a theory on Mysterio. This theory states that the Ancient One actually taught Quentin Beck in a very special way of the mystical arts, a way that only a few students that trained under the Ancient One knew of. I think that Beck took the power out of hand, killed the others that knew of the power, and left Kamar Taj. This is why Beck's powers look very similar to Doctor Strange's, but are still very different. I think that Beck used this power to travel to a different Earth to become their hero figure like Iron Man. But soon the people of that new Earth found out who he really was, a villain, so when the snap happened he took advantage of it, crossed over to our Earth again after hearing about the death of the Ancient One, and claimed that the snap tore a hole in his dimension. I think that at about 3/4 into the movie, Doctor Strange will tell Peter Beck's true origin, as Beck's betrayal being told through the generations of the sorcerers, and will help Peter defeat Beck with the help of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then I think the end credits will be the MCU setting up Kang the Conqueror as the next villain. The theory that Mysterio was actually taught by the Ancient One is a good theory that has been going around, and their powers do look very similar. However, the twist on this theory is that Quentin Beck was actually taught some ancient power that not a lot of people were taught, and then he killed everybody else that knew it besides the Ancient One, and then he used that power to go to a different universe. So this theory is that the snap tearing a hole through Earth's dimension is fake, but the multiverse is still real, which I do like the idea of. And if this is the case, then Doctor Strange would definitely know who Quentin Beck is. So it would make sense that he would tell Spider-Man about his origin and help him defeat him. So that does it for theory number 2, on to theory number 4 comes from Alfredo Moscoso. And Alfredo's theory states that there won't be a major villain teased in Phase 4 like they did for Thanos, but instead what will be teased is the multiverse on a collision course. The build up to this will introduce the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and maybe characters like Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Gwen, She-Hulk, or any offshoot characters. Once they start getting into the later phases, the true villain could be introduced, which I think would be Doctor Doom, and while the heroes try and stop the multiverse collision, Doctor Doom steals the powers of the Beyonders and creates the Battleworld. And the collision of the multiverse happens, and in that movie, everyone really dies except a handful of heroes. Then in Battleworld, we will see Thanos again, and maybe even see the Phoenix Force and Wolverine or Cyclops. And then in the last movie, we will see a team up of the superheroes and the supervillains villains to go against the godlike Doctor Doom with all of the Beyonders' powers. This would certainly be absolutely insane to see happen, but I think everybody would love it, and I think once we heard multiverse, a lot of people started to think Battleworld. And if you want an insanely huge event, something that Marvel has to do to outperform Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, Battleworld is definitely something that could do that. And then the heroes and the villains teaming up to go fight Doctor Doom, that's something that people have been waiting for to see on screen for a super long time now. And now that the Disney Fox deal is done and the multiverse has been introduced, hey, we could see it happen one day. So that's it for theory number 4. On to the last and final theory number 5.